Oh wow, didn't see you there. Well, since you've stopped by, let's talk about foods from Australia. Foods from Australia. Where did my words go? Foods from Australia that I cannot buy here that I miss. Now, let's be real, there are ways of procuring a lot of this stuff that's usually more expensive or requires a lot more effort, and you have to go to like somewhere really strange and pay too much money. So a lot of these you can probably find. That's not the point. Let's not get bogged down in technicalities. Everyone's favorite rice cracker, the sakata. Do they still have that TV out? The sakata. Sakata. The delicious rice cracker. Seaweed, other flavors, original. I could smash a whole pack of the original rice crackers. I've seen something similar at Lidl, I think, actually, but I didn't buy it because it wasn't sakata and it's not going to be the same. So, call me a purist, but gotta take rice crackers seriously. The obvious ones, Tim Tams and Shapes. These are definitely two that you can find at some really big supermarkets with like big international sections, or pay a lot at like some Australian food shop, because obviously there are a lot of Australians living here now, and those are the classics. Those are the classics. But there is just nothing like going to Coles and seeing that they're on sale and it's like $1 for a whole pack of Tim Tams, and you're like, great, that's some treats for the week, and then they last the night. What we're learning here is that it's probably for the best I don't have access to these snack foods anymore. Also, pizza shapes versus barbecue shapes. Place your votes below. Personally, I grew up on pizza shapes, and I think I just overdid it. I really enjoyed pizza shapes, you know what I mean? And then I think once I was the age of maybe like 20 or so, because I just didn't have barbecue shapes all that time, I started swaying towards barbecue shape. Now also, underrated, savory shapes. They're a hint cheesy, they're a hint sesame seed, and they're just a whole lot of fun. And also their shapes are really, they're like different, there's different shapes inside the shapes. So there's like triangles, and then there's like those weird ones where they sort of tessellate. I think shape-wise, that's a really good shape. And also taste-wise, underrated. Underrated, I tell you. Crisp flavours, so light and tangy. Light and tangy is not a thing here. The closest thing I found is, you might think this is odd, but prawn cocktail. Any Londoners playing at home, we do not have prawn cocktail crisps in Australia. We do have light and tangy crisps. I don't really know what they're meant to taste like. They do taste like something. I would say they taste like Walker's prawn cocktail crisps without the prawn, if that makes sense. So like the seasonings, but not the seafood taste. That said, prawn cocktail crisps are inferior to light and tangy crisps, and we mourn their lack of availability. I mean, Walker's is basically Thins, right? Pods. I love me some pods. Do you remember when they used to come in boxes before the bags? Twix, probably my favourite. A Mars, close second, they're very similar. Snickers is a classic. It's not my fave, but it seems to be the other classic. The crispy outside, the chocolatey, they're not really a biscuit and they're not really a chocolate. The serving size is horrible. I always end up like eating 90% of it and then thinking I've got some for the next day, and there's like 3 in there the next day and I curse myself. But it's so delicious. And I'm actually getting really sad thinking about how long it has been since I've eaten pods. I'm salivating. I'm salivating. Musk sticks, or musk flavoured lollies. I think this might actually be one of those like weird Australian things that people just don't really have or know about. Tasty. Do you remember mini musks? can you still get them. And some of them are sort of harder and some of them are sort of softer. There's just sort of that variety, some crunch and some crumble. Pink. The perfect pink sweet. And speaking of sweets, Allen's lollies. As the song goes, I love Allen's lollies lots. Snakes, classic. Jelly babies, classic. Snakes and jelly babies, they're not the staple of sweets here. I feel like there's a lot more Haribo. Like in Australia, there's like probably some Haribo bears somewhere in the supermarket, but I feel like that's the standard lolly here. It's like Haribo. It's a more of a bouncier chew. It's not an Allen's. You bite through it. Do you know what? Does this make any sense? So instead of like a Haribo bounce, these are the teeth. Haribo bounce and Allen's. I probably think way too much about the consistency of a jelly lolly. Now, last but not least, we'll go for something a bit more savoury, a bit more substantial. Just the good old Parma. In Australia, I would say like a Parma is a pub classic. It's a pub meal. And it's not anywhere here. For the Londoners playing along, a chicken parmigiana is chicken, usually a schnitzel with like tomato, like Napoli sauce, ham as well, and cheese melted on top. Comes with chips and salad. Some places also do veal or like an eggplant one for a vegetarian option. And sometimes there's a bit of variation in the toppings as well. So yeah, there's probably places you can get this. There might be something that they call a bit different as well. And then you've got the Parmy versus Parma. I am Team Parma. Not that I'm really one for a Parma. That's not the point. Bonus round. I've just reminded myself of another one that wasn't on my list, but potato cakes. I miss potato cakes at the fish and chip shop. A potato cake is like a potato disc that has been, I guess, battered and deep fried. They just don't exist here. I heard maybe up in like the north of the UK they might be a thing. Please tell me if they are. I need to go and find it. And for the record, if anybody tells you that it is called a potato scallop, don't listen to them, because they are somebody that shouldn't be trusted, because they should just call it a potato cake, like the rest of us who are being petty about regional differences in the names for foods. Well, now I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna go and be sad about that. So if you enjoyed this, please subscribe for more fun and adventures, and let's all just go and get a snack. I can't remember if I covered this in one of the previous videos as well, but lollies. In Australia, lollies is all sweets. In London, UK, lollies would either be an ice lolly, which is an icy pole, or a lollipop. Otherwise, everything else is sweets. So there's another translation to add to the good old food vocabulary.